Today I want to talk about a principle that may sound unusual at first. Never tell people what you do. Now don't misunderstand me. I don't mean you should hide your identity, your talents, or your dreams. What I mean is this: don't waste your energy talking about your goals. Spend that energy proving them through action. When we think about what truly inspires respect, it is rarely promises or declarations. It is the visible results that leave an impression. Imagine someone who constantly talks about what they are going to achieve, painting a grand vision in words but never following through. After a while, people stop listening because words without evidence become empty. On the other hand, consider a person who may not speak much about their plans, but consistently delivers excellence. Their work becomes their voice, their achievements, their introduction. The world pays closer attention to what is demonstrated than to what is described. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every milestone that has changed history did not come from endless explanations. It came from concrete effort. Great inventors, leaders, and creators did not spend their lives convincing others that they were capable. Instead, they quietly pursued their craft until the results could no longer be ignored. In daily life, this principle matters just as much. At school, in your career, or in your personal journey, people notice consistency, commitment, and tangible progress far more than they notice promises. Anyone can say, "I will succeed." Fewer people can put in the long nights of work, the discipline, the practice, and the sacrifices required to actually succeed. When you stop announcing and start proving, something powerful happens. Credibility forms. You no longer need to convince others of your value because your track record speaks on your behalf. Your reputation is built not by what you tell others you will do, but by what you silently accomplish when no one is watching. And that reputation will always carry more weight than the loudest claims. Every person has a limited supply of energy each day. How we choose to spend it determines the direction of our lives. Some people waste this valuable force by talking endlessly about their intentions, describing in detail what they plan to achieve, or seeking constant approval before even taking the first step. The problem with that approach is simple. Every word takes a little bit of energy away from the actual work. By the time you finish explaining, you've already drained some of the fuel that could have gone into making progress. The most successful people understand that silence is not weakness, it is conservation. They save their focus for the actions that matter: drafting, practicing, building, experimenting. They do not hand over their momentum to casual conversations. Instead, they guard it like treasure and invest it into tangible steps forward. Think of energy like currency. Spend it carelessly on talk and it vanishes with nothing to show. Spend it wisely on action and it multiplies, creating results that can later speak on your behalf. Another truth is that speaking too much about future goals can create a false sense of accomplishment. Psychologists call this the illusion of progress. When you announce your dream, people might praise you for your ambition. That praise feels good, but it tricks the brain into thinking the job is half done, even though nothing has been achieved. This false reward can steal the very drive you need to succeed. By keeping your vision private and putting your energy into consistent work, you turn every drop of effort into growth. Protecting your strength in this way ensures that when the time comes to reveal your results, they will not just be promises but undeniable proof of dedication and discipline. There is a unique kind of power that grows when you learn to keep your ambitions to yourself. In moments of silence, you sharpen your focus and strengthen your determination. By choosing not to announce every goal, you remove the distraction of opinions, doubts, or even unnecessary praise. Instead, you create a private space where your vision belongs solely to you. That space becomes your training ground, where you build discipline without interference. Silence also protects you from relying too heavily on external motivation. When you constantly share your plans with others, their approval can become your fuel. The danger in that is simple. If they stop clapping, your energy fades. But when you rely on inner drive, no applause is needed. Your reason for working hard is rooted in something deeper, your own belief, your own commitment. That kind of strength cannot be shaken by criticism or silence from others. Think about the athletes who train before dawn, when no one is watching, or the artists who sketch quietly in their notebooks long before their names are known. These individuals understand that greatness is built in private before it is displayed in public. Their silence does not mean weakness. It means they are gathering power, refining skills, and preparing to surprise the world when the time is right. Learning to hold back words and channel energy inward builds resilience. You become less dependent on outside noise and more anchored in personal discipline. And when the results of that silent work finally emerge, they carry far more weight than any declaration ever could. True strength is not about how loudly you speak of your dreams, but about how consistently you nurture them in quiet until they grow too large to be ignored. There is something undeniably powerful about unveiling results that no one expected. When you quietly dedicate yourself to a project, a dream, or a goal, and then suddenly reveal it when it's fully formed, the effect is far greater than if you had spoken about it every step of the way. Surprise carries weight, it captures attention, sparks curiosity, and earns respect. People are naturally drawn to outcomes they did not anticipate. Think about it. If you spend months telling everyone that you plan to start a business, publish a book, or run a marathon, the eventual accomplishment might feel ordinary to them because they already anticipated it. But if you quietly put in the work and then reveal the finished business, the printed book, or the medal from your race, the impact is multiplied. The element of surprise magnifies achievement. It shows discipline, it shows control, and most importantly, it shows that you value results over recognition. Surprise also teaches patience. It requires you to resist the temptation to seek early validation or attention, which is often what derails people from their goals. By keeping your work private, you allow yourself the freedom to grow, make mistakes, and improve without judgment. Then when you finally present your work, it carries the polish and strength of true preparation. The greatest breakthroughs in history often arrived unexpectedly. Innovators who quietly experimented in their workshops stunned the world with discoveries no one saw coming. Their impact was lasting precisely because they let their results reveal themselves at the right moment. In your own journey, let your dedication unfold in silence. When the time comes to show the world what you've been building, the surprise of your success will carry a force that words alone could never create. What truly lasts is never the loud announcement of a goal, but the steady work that shapes results over time. A legacy is not something you declare into existence. It is something you build through effort, integrity, and consistency. Anyone can talk about the mark they want to leave on the world, but only those who commit to years of dedication actually leave something behind that others remember. When people look back on your life or your career, they won't recall every promise you made. They will remember the projects you completed, the people you influenced, the values you lived by, and the results that remain long after you're gone. This is why legacy cannot be announced in words, it must be written in actions. A title, a status, or an intention fades, but impact endures. Consider the figures in history who are remembered today. They are not celebrated because they told the world they were great. They are celebrated because they quietly built greatness that spoke for itself. Their inventions, their art, their leadership, or their ideas stand as proof of a life that contributed meaningfully. None of that came from constant explanations. It came from consistent delivery. In everyday life, this principle applies just as strongly. At school, in a job, or in personal relationships, people respect reliability and results far more than declarations. Your reputation is not formed by what you promise. It is formed by what you produce and how you treat others along the way. By focusing less on announcing and more on creating, you shape something that outlives your words. That is the essence of legacy. It is not what you say about yourself, but what others say about you when your work and your character speak louder than you ever did. As we come to the end of this message, I want you to remember something simple but powerful. The world doesn't need to hear constant announcements about who you are or what you plan to achieve. What the world needs is proof, proof in your work, proof in your discipline, proof in the results that cannot be denied. Every minute you spend explaining is a minute you could have spent building. Every word you use to boast is energy that could have fueled progress. Every secret you keep gives you strength, focus, and the element of surprise, and every action you take, no matter how small, is another brick in the foundation of the legacy you are creating. So choose wisely, choose to protect your energy, choose to stay consistent in silence, choose to let your work become your loudest voice, because in the end, people may forget what you promised, but they will never forget what you delivered. Let your results introduce you, let your actions inspire others, and let your legacy speak long after you've stopped talking. That is the real power of never telling people what you do, because when the moment comes, your success will speak louder than anything you could have said. Thank you.